Hello and welcome to Star Wars on the Commodore 64, and this is a conversion from the coin-op. This Vector Graphics coin-op came out, I don't know, early 80s. And of course Vector Graphics and 3D in general, not the C64's strong points, but let's stick with medium low. So, I can't remember how to play this. Right, so you can probably guess we're in an X-Wing fighter, and we are approaching the Death Star, which is surrounded by these TIE fighters. And one of the TIE fighters is Darth Vader's one. You can't actually destroy that one, but you can damage it and he flies away. Oops. Now, I'm not quite sure whether, I guess for reasons of gameplay, but the TIE fighters are firing fireballs at you instead of lasers, but I guess you can't really shoot lasers, so they've obviously changed it just for the purposes of the gameplay. You see the graphics, they're actually not too bad. They're a little jerky, but you mostly just notice it on your own laser blasts. They're a bit laggy, but the actual 3D movement of the enemy ships is okay. It's not too bad. It's perfectly playable. Just would have been nice to have it a bit faster, but it doesn't really ruin the gameplay too much. So we move on to the second section. There's 3 sections in total. So this section is supposed to take place on the surface of the Death Star before we get to the trench, which is the final section. I mean, in the film there was maybe a little bit where they skimmed along the surface, so I guess what this is what this section is supposed to represent. The graphics are a bit slower, I think. You're supposed to shoot these towers, but they are a bit slower, I think, on this level. But it's still playable enough. Just. I think the programmers did a pretty good job, I think, really, of getting this up and running on the 64. It's just not it's not a machine that's particularly suited to any sort of 3D. It just doesn't have the horsepower, or you know. It just doesn't really have the instruction set to cope with complex calculations either. You know, it's just very simple, slow processor, but the 64, you know, all its other hardware is geared up towards sort of 2D games, which it is good at, but 3D games, yeah, just not something that's ever really its strength. This section's actually done quite well, I think. And it's actually quite an exciting sort of. Really does capture the sort of thrill of the sequence in the film, I think. Just avoid the catwalks and shoot fireballs or avoid them. That's it. Destroy the exhaust port at the end of the section. You know when it's coming up because there'll be a big high section with 3 catwalks. In fact, here it is now. Oops, it's a bit low there. The exhaust port should be coming up. I always find it a little hard to tell whether I got it or not, but also I did, because the stunning Death Star explosion confirms this. And that, well, a bit sarcastic there, but it's almost as stunning as it was in the original film. That's before the Lucas started tampering with it, of course. And after that, the game just loops round to the net, and it just increases the difficulty level a little bit. It doesn't really increase it that much. I mean, it's possible to loop the game, 2 or 3 times easily without trying. But that's pretty much the game, and that's really the only real niggle I've got with this game is the fact that there's only 3 sections. Considering it's because it's vector graphics, it doesn't actually require that much in terms of storage. It's all stored in numbers. I mean, I'm sure they could have easily added an extra couple of levels or stuck Empire Strikes Back onto the back of it or something, but once they've got the graphics engine up and running, adding a couple more levels, I don't think it would have been that difficult, but there you go. So yeah, it's quite a good conversion. Doesn't have all the speech that the coin-op version had, which it does lose something because of that, I think. It also doesn't have the big, cabinet you sit in and nice control stick, so you do lose a bit of the immersion that the coin-op had. But as a conversion, I think it's perfectly decent. As a game in its own right, it's decent-ish, but it's a bit short-lived. You get bored of it pretty quickly, I think, just because it's only 3 levels. Yep, I'll give it. I'll give it 6.5 out of 10. I think nothing really much wrong with it. Just a bit on the short side. And okay, it's a little jerky, but it's not that bad, in my opinion, anyway. Right, 6.5 out of 10. See you in the next video.